Behind the Taliban's public image of unity, a power struggle is breaking out. Here's what you need to know.
Afghanistan's Taliban government's imposed a nationwide communications shutdown just weeks after introducing fibre optic internet.
In late September 2025, Afghanistan's internet and mobile phone services completely stopped working across the country. Internet watchdogs were tracking a massive drop in connectivity, which was now just 1% of normal levels. And access didn't just vanish, it happened in phases. And the final stage hit telephone lines, relying on the same infrastructure as the internet. The effects were immediate.
It's also a return to their previous playbook. Wind the clock back a quarter century. The Taliban once outlawed television and satellite dishes, alleging they went against Islamic teachings.
People couldn't do normal banking and payments, flights were disrupted and cancelled, businesses lost contact with suppliers, and aid agencies were cut off from staff, preventing life-saving humanitarian assistance.
اما درس‌ها، پانتون، مکاتب، بخش‌های اداری و دولتی همش به اینترنت تعلق داره. ما از دولت همین خواهش داریم که اینترنت رو روی مردم باز کنه. اینترنت نباشه بسیار سخت است مردم زندگی کردن.
After 48 hours, services came back without an explanation. Now, that's the event, but why does it matter? This was not just an outage, it was a rare public clue that Taliban power is not as unified as it claims. I'm going to break this down into 3 parts. What happened, where the power sits, and what this tells us about the Taliban's leadership. The nationwide blackout was not sudden. It began in the north of the country, and on the 17th of September 2025, the Taliban banned fibre optic internet across 5 provinces: Kunduz, Badakhshan, Baghlan, Takhar, and Balkh. The justification: preventing immoral activities. Now, fibre matters. It's what homes, offices, schools, and businesses rely on for stable internet. Mobile data remained, but it's slower and far more expensive. The impact was immediate. Women-led businesses saw their costs soar, workshops selling handicrafts lost orders, and girls already banned from school lost their only link to a classroom, online learning. By late September, the shutdown became national. Sources say that it was a direct order. The timing matters. It lasted 2 days and then it was reversed. The power struggle is geography. Kandahar versus Kabul. Kandahar is the seat of the Taliban Supreme Leader Hibatullah Akhundzada. It is the center of religious authority. Kabul is the administrative heart. It's where Taliban ministers run the state. Telecoms, airports, revenue, and security. Akhundzada is not running cabinet meetings in Kabul every week. He rules by decrees from Kandahar. Taliban ministers in Kabul have to implement those orders and absorb the consequences. So the question becomes, what happens when a decree makes the country impossible to run? The internet blackout was a test case. 2 camps have emerged. The Kandahar camp, prioritizing strict Islamic ideological control, restrictions, and isolation from the modern world, and the Kabul camp, focusing on governability, keeping the economy alive, the state functional, and engaging with the outside world.
That crossed a red line in terms of the people in Kabul is we can't run the economy. The economy is already pretty difficult. We can't run this government. We can't run the economy.
The Taliban is built on absolute obedience to the Emir, the absolute leader, a man only accountable to Allah and not someone to be challenged. And this is part of the Taliban's identity and DNA. The Taliban publicly insists there are no factions. But a year-long BBC investigation backed by a leaked internal audio recording reveals a deep divide. It describes two broad camps. And this is not a story about moderates. These are Taliban senior figures, including Interior Minister Sirajuddin Haqqani and Defense Minister Yaqoob. The Taliban's Supreme Leader is a man with a deep distrust of the internet. He believes its contents to be against Islamic teachings. And now in the leaked recording, Akhundzada is blunt. Internal division could bring the emirate down.
The mullahs in Kandahar that run the Taliban, they're totally out of contact with sort of having to run the country. The guys that have to do it are in Kabul.
Why would the internet trigger such a clash? Because the internet is not a luxury. It's the plumbing of the economy and administration that the Taliban are trying to prove they can run. Cut it, and you don't just block dissent, you break banking, logistics, flight, and aid delivery.
Are they going to suffer a similar kind of problem that Iran has got if their economy gets too bad, if people can't support themselves? That it doesn't start out as political, but it turns political.
And that creates pressure, including pressure on the Taliban's own machinery. Reporting indicates that Akhundzada ordered the national shutdown. And then within days, Kabul-based officials pushed for it to be reversed, reportedly on the order of the Prime Minister Mullah Akhund. As one Taliban insider puts it, this was nothing short of a rebellion. If that sequence is correct, it shows something important. Not that Kabul has won, but that Kabul is willing to push back when a decision threatens basic functioning of the state. And in a movement that is defined by obedience, that is a significant signal. So what does this all mean? Well, three things. First, the Taliban rule can look monolithic from the outside, but still unstable at the top. Second, it makes policies more unpredictable. You can get sweeping restrictions and then sudden reversals. Not because conditions improve, but because internal arguments force changes. And third, connectivity is a weapon. The leadership has proven that they can cut a lifeline for Afghanistan's 43 million people at a moment's notice.
Rather conservative regimes see the internet as a means of, liberating women, which in their books is a really bad thing. But then also they see it as people accessing all sorts of different information on the internet, which they would rather people not see.
One thing to watch is this. Does this become more targeted? Not dramatic nationwide blackout every time, but province by province cutoffs, or sector by sector restrictions and selective access for government offices while the public is left in the dark.
Where I would be watching is what happens in the cities. Taliban ideology is not popular in cities like Kabul, Mazar, Herat. They're big population centers. If there was trouble there, would they be able to handle it?
But the bigger story here is not only the blackout, it's what this has revealed. A leadership under strain arguing over how much control they can exert before it starts breaking the state they are trying to govern.